Okay, so as requested, here is the video lecture for your rational exponents, okay? Or should I say summary lecture for rational exponents. So on this one here, we'll just make this one as quick as possible. So we will just discuss about first transforming exponential terms into radical forms and then vice versa. And then you also have evaluating radical terms, okay? We also have evaluating rational exponents and then simplifying rational exponents and then solving for x. Okay, so these are the 5 things that we will cover in this summary lecture. Okay, let's start already. Well, just in case I will make some mistakes here, I will just continue and then change it as we go on because I will not anymore edit this video. Okay, so let's start with our first one, transforming exponential terms into radical forms. So this one, we will discuss them directly through examples, okay? Let's say we have here x, oopsie, it's a bit small, let's make it like this. Say we have x raised to 7 over 5. So this is what we call again an exponential form or exponential term. What do? Is we will translate it from exponential term or exponential form going to radical form. What do is we have to analyze this one. Take note that there is a fraction here, okay? The 7 there, I hope you know your fractions. You have numerator over denominator, right? So the idea here is this. The number above, okay, the numerator, that will be your p. The denominator is I. Oh, there's an acronym. What does it mean by pi? We have here power and we have here index. Okay, so it means that the number above here, the numerator, will be your power. The denominator is your index. So how do you transform this? So since you have your fraction as 7 over 5, right? So it means that 7 here is going to be the power. And then this 5 here is going to be the index. Okay, so it means that x raised to 7 over 5, again, let's start with the index. Our index is what? 5, right? And then our power, well, of course, let's write first the base. The base is x. And the power is, again, 7. As easy as that. So this is how you transform exponential form going to radical form. Okay, let's try one more example. Let's say you have here 2 raised to 5 over 3. Again, take note, pi. The 5 is your power, the 3 is your index. So it's gonna be what? It's gonna be equal to, you put there the radical symbol, you put the base 2 inside, right? What's the power of 2? 5. What's the index? 3. As simple as that. Okay? How about we have here, let's say, 67, okay? 67 raised to 1 half. What about if our power, again, this one is the power, this index, okay, pi. So your power here is 1, the index is 2. So if you will write it here, again, square root, radical symbol, you put the base 67 here. Okay, first, let's start with the power. What's the power of 67 again? The power is 1, okay? You put here 1. But again, do we still need to write 1 there? No need, right? The first power rule, right? 67 raised to 1, it's already 67. And then the index is 2. But do we still need to write the 2? Take note that the radical symbol, this one here, there is already an automatic number 2. That's why if your index is 2, no need to write number 2. It's already automatic that there is a 2 here. Okay, that's the rule. Okay, so the answer is already the square root of 67. Again, we will not simplify yet or evaluate. We're just trying to transform them. Let's say we have here 9 raised to negative 3 over 2. But let's say also the negative sign is here in between, like that. Okay? So what do we do here is always take note that we're always going to put our negative sign in our numerator so that we won't be confused anymore. Okay? Again, pi. Okay? So we have here, the power is negative 3, the index is 2. So again, if we will transform that, that will become, we write first our radical symbol, we put our base 9, the power, okay, what's the power? Negative 3. And then the index, what's the index? The index is 2. But do we need to write the 2? Again, if the index is 2, automatic there's a 2 there. Right? Okay? No need to write number 2. However, okay, take note also that the square root of 9 raised to negative 3, this one, this is also the same as the square root of 9 raised to negative 3. Again, these two here, they are just the same thing. You can put the power of negative 3 inside or outside. It's the same thing. Now, if you will check, this is square root of 9. Again, we will not simplify yet, okay? I know you can simplify square root of 9, but let's not simplify yet. Let's just analyze how do we transform. Okay, so if you will check, still we have a negative exponent. And again, that's not allowed, right? If we have a negative exponent here in the numerator, what do? You bring it down. That's why what's going to happen here? It will be in our denominator, right? It's going to be now square root of 9 raised to 3. Now it's going to be positive. But sir, what do we put in the numerator? There's no more number. Well, again, you put there 1. I hope you can still recall that from your grade 8. Okay. Again, now, I just retained the number, the square root of 9. I didn't simplify it yet. Okay? Our concern so far is just the transformation from exponential going to radical form. Now, let's try the vice versa. Okay, I hope you're good so far here. Again, you can just, what do you call this one? Rewind the video if you think you need to check again what did I mention a while ago. But I will proceed already on the vice versa. Now, we will try from radical form going through exponential form. Okay? Oops. I need here, wait, one more page here. Oh, it's different size already. Anyway, let's continue. So let's say, again, we will have here, a while ago, take note, we have exponential form going to radical form. This time, we will have the vice versa. Let's try this time. From radical form going through exponential form. I hope you can all follow. So the given here, okay, this. Let's say we have the given, start with the basic one, okay? The square root of x. Okay. So again, this is a radical form, right? Because there is a radical symbol, right? This one is the radical symbol, take note. So we can say that's a radical form. Now, how do we transform that into exponential form? Okay, what do? Let's just analyze first. Our pi. Okay, let's analyze here our pi. What's the p? What's the power of x here? Again, there's an invisible power, right? It's 1. And then, what's the index? Again, if there's no number written here in the index, automatically there's a 2. So it means our power is 2. Sorry, our index is 2. So now, what do? How do we answer this? It means now that the square root of x is equal to, first again, you just copy the base x, and then you will have a fraction, right? P over I, right? P over I. What's your P? What's the power? The power is 1. The index is 2. That's why this is the answer. Again, always P over I. Let's have more example. Let's say we have here, let's have cube root. Say we have cube root of y. So again, let's analyze our pi. What's the power of y here? Again, there's a power of 1 there, right? So it means that p power is equal to 1. And then the index, again, it's kind of obvious, right? The index here is 3. So let's put here 3. There you go. So we can say now that the cube root of x, sorry, it's not x, it's y, is equal to y raised to what? Again, pi, right? You should put here a fraction. The p is 1. The index is 3. And there you go. That's the answer already. Right? Okay, let's have, oh, you try this one. Let's say, by the way, while I'm discussing this, you can post the video and then like answer, okay, on your own. So you have fourth root of x raised to 5. Again, let's analyze. What's the p? What's the I? Okay? You can see the p, the power. What's the power of x? It's 5, right? Put here the 5. What's the I? The index. There. You got 4. So it means that the fourth root of x raised to 5 is equal to what? X raised to 5 over 4. As simple as that. Okay? Let's have one more. Now, because it might happen, okay, that we have a negative exponent. I mean to say, what if our given is something like this? Say we have 1 over fifth root of, let's use a number here already as a base. 7 raised to 2, like that. Again, I will not simplify yet. I'm just doing the transformation, okay, from radical to exponential form. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, let's just start our analysis in the denominator, okay? Let's ignore first the 1. The denominator again, let's analyze. Our power is 2. Our index is 5. Okay? So, what's going to happen? 1 over fifth root of 7 squared, it will become what? Well, let's just copy the 1 first, okay? Let's not change anything yet. And the denominator, again, our base is 7. The power is 2. The index is 5. There you go. However, well, actually, it's not standard that we're putting our base here in the denominator. What do? You bring it up. Okay? What's going to happen here? Again, take note, huh? In the denominator, 7 raised to 2 raised to 5, or the power of 7 here, the 2 raised to 5, okay, it's positive. Now, the thing is, if you will move that in the denominator, sorry, in the numerator, okay, above, it will become now 7 raised to negative 2 over 5. So what happened to the 1? Well, there, times 1, right? But that will not do anything in the numerator. Okay? So just ignore it. But sir, what happened now to the denominator? You have a denominator still because no more number below, you put here 1. However, if you will divide this 7 raised to negative 2 over 5 by 1, still nothing happens. So you can ignore the 1. So this is already our answer here. Okay? This is how we do our radical form, turning into exponential form. Exponential. Exponential. Okay, this one. Please forgive me with the spelling. Exponential form. Okay, let's continue. So we have our part 2 already. And the part 2 is about what? Evaluating radical terms. Okay, basic radical terms only. Because for me, if you will understand the basic of this one, you will actually, you can do the other things already, like the harder examples. So again, as I told you, we will just go directly with our examples here. So let's say we have here cube root of 97. Well, definitely, if you're allowed to use calculator, it's going to be so simple, right? But how do we analyze this? Cube root of 27. Okay, it means you have to think, okay, of one number, x, let's say this number is x, okay? Think of one number, let's use a variable first, x, and then that when you multiply, when you write here 3 times, okay, and then when you multiply by itself, the answer is going to be 27. Again, sir, where did the 3 times came from? There, okay? When you say cube root again, you have to think of a number that when you multiply by itself, there, 3 times, the result is 27. Now, what do? I'm actually hoping with the basic radicals, we're good, okay? Like, that number should be what? Can it be 2? 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8, right? How about 3? You will check 3. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. Yes. So it means that the value of x, okay, is 3. It means that the number that when you multiply by itself 3 times, that will become 27, is actually 3. Again, let's double check because 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. Okay, again, this is the answer here. Let's have more example. Let's say we have here fifth root of 32. What does it mean when you say fifth root of 32? Okay, it means you have to think of a number, again, just one number, that when you multiply by itself 5 times, you will have your 32. Again, the analysis here is that think of a number, let's say x times x times x times x times x, okay, 5 times. The answer is 32. Okay, what you do here is like, you start with the smaller number first, okay? If it's 1, definitely no, right? How about if it's 2? Let's check. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. The answer is, again, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. It means that that number should be 2. It means that the fifth root of 32 is 2. Okay, because again, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. I hope we're good here. Okay. Now let's try, what about, we have here fractions. Let's say you have cube root of 8 over 27. Okay. Take note that later on actually, in your, what you call this one, surds and radicals, you will find out that there's a property of surds and radicals that this one here is also the same as what? Cube root of 8 over cube root of 27. So again, the analysis here, you can do it separately. Numerator, what do? Think of a number that when you multiply by itself 3 times, becomes 8. Okay? That one is again 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the numerator will become 2. Now, denominator, actually we did it a while ago here. Okay? The cube root of 27 again is 3 because of this. So this is 3 already. And that's our answer. Okay? Next. Let's go to our part 3. The part 3 is evaluating rational exponents. So again, most of these examples here, I just got this from your lectures. Okay? Okay, number 1. Let's say we have here 16 raised to 1 half. Okay. Actually, there are different ways of doing this. The first way is that you can transform this. Isn't it? You can transform this into a radical form. Let's say this is 16, right? And then since your index is 2, it's gonna be square root, right? However, there's also another way of doing this. Okay? There's another way. What do we do? Okay. Please take note. By the way, when you say evaluating rational exponent, it means you're like simplifying it. Okay? Take note that I hope you're familiar with 16. I hope you're familiar with the perfect square numbers, the perfect cube like that. Okay? And I hope that you know that 16 is also the same as 2 raised to 4. Okay? I hope you know that one. Because 2 times 2, if you write 2 4 times, okay, 4 times, and if you will multiply it by itself 4 times, the answer is going to be 16. That's why 2 raised to 4 is 16, right? So with that, sir, what's the purpose of that one? The purpose of that is, isn't it that this one here, the 16 now can become 2 raised to 4. And then raised to 1 half. I just copied the 1 half here. Again, what I did here is I replace, instead of writing 16, I instead write here 2 raised to 4. Anyway, there's the same value, right? Now, what's the purpose of that, sir? Okay, take note. We have in this loss of exponents, we have this what we call power of a power rule. And what do we do again in power of a power rule? If you have two powers, okay, you have your powerful. Okay, I'm just kidding. What do? You multiply those two powers. So it's gonna be now 2 raised to 4 times 1/2. I hope also that you can still recall how do you multiply fractions. So 4 is not a fraction. Again, you can turn 4 into a fraction. 4/1 times 1/2. Again, I will repeat. This is like 4 times 1/2. But sure, again, the 4 is not a fraction, right? Again, I told you, you can express that as a fraction with denominator 1. What do you do in the fraction? How do you multiply fraction? Numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. So 4 times 1 is 4, 1 times 2 is 2. But again, you can simplify 4/2, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it means that the answer here, this is also equal to what? 2. Again, this whole thing here will become 2. And I hope you know how to simplify 2 or 2 raised to 2. 2 raised to 2 means what? You have to write the number 2. How many times? 2 times and multiply. That's why the final answer here, it's CD4. I hope you're not confused with the same number. But the answer here, again, it's CD4. I hope we're good so far. Okay, let's continue. Let's say we have here 8 raised to 5, oopsie, over 3. Okay, again, I am hoping that by this time, you're already familiar with what we call the perfect cube numbers, perfect square numbers. And I hope that you know that 8, okay, that number 8 can actually be written also as what? As base 2, as 2 raised to 3. So why? Take note that 2, if you write it 3 times, and if you multiply it, that's 8, right? That's why I was able to say that 8 is just the same as 2 raised to 3. Okay, again, please, I'm hoping you're already doing good with the basic exponents, okay? Now, so what's the purpose of that? Well, isn't it that we can actually replace the 8? But that this time, instead of writing 8, you can write 2 raised to 3. And then, take note, there's a power. What's the power? 5 over 3. Now, what will happen? This will become, again, there's a power and another power. Power of a power rule, okay? You're powerful. What do? You multiply. So, let's just multiply that one. It's gonna be what? 3 times 5 over 3. So again, this is not a fraction. The 3 is not a fraction. Again, you can turn that as a fraction. What do we do in fraction? We multiply them. Okay? Using, what do we do in multiplication of fraction? We multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. And it's gonna be what? 3 times 5 is 15. And 1 times 3 is 3, of course 3. But this one, again, we can simplify, right? You know this one? 15 over 3 is 5. So that's why this is also the same as, again, 2 raised to, again, this whole thing here, it will become 5. And you know, what's the value of 2 raised to 5? When you say 2 raised to 5, it means you have to write the number 2. How many times? 5 times. And you need to multiply them. What do you get there? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. So it means that the final answer here should be 32. Question first? Question? Sorry, why am I asking question? This is just a recording. I'm used to it, sorry. Okay, I hope we're good so far. Let's try next. Okay, what if we have now a negative exponent? Okay, I'm just gonna add a page here. By the way, again, please, if you still find it confusing, you can just try rewinding the video, okay? Okay, let's try here. What if we have instead, sir, 27, and then the power is, let's say, negative 2 over 3. Okay, again, In your previous lessons, grade 8 and also in the first part of your lesson, grade 9, right? That there is what they call negative exponents rule, right? Wherein if you have a negative exponent or negative power in the numerator, to make it positive, you bring it down. What's going to happen here? This will become, again, this will actually go down. It will become now 27 raised to 2 over 3. Now it's positive, okay? The exponent now is positive. However, so there's no more number left in the numerator. What do I do? Again, if you don't put any number there, it's not anymore a fraction. You should put any number. You should put a number there, right? Every time a number is removed, just put 1. Now, with our only worry here is not the numerator, but the denominator. Okay, let's go with 27. 27, I hope you're also familiar with the 27 as an exponential form. Okay, can 27 become base 2? Like 2 raised to 5, 2 raised to 3? No, right? Again, please familiarize this one. 27 is actually equal to what? 3 raised to 3. Why? Again, because 3. If you will write the number 3 times and you multiply, that will be 27. Okay? So this means that, sir, what's the purpose of doing this one? Because you can turn 27 as 3 raised to 3. But still, there is a power. What's the power? 2 over 3. Okay? I hope we're doing good here so far. What do we do next? Again, if you can see, there are 2 powers here. Power of a power, what do? You multiply them. So the answer here should be still 1 in the numerator. And then, if you will multiply 3 times 2/3, again, we can turn this into fraction like that. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 3 is 2. Sorry. 1 times 3 is 3. If you divide that, the answer is 2. So it's going to be what? Again, that's only the power. It's going to be now 3 raised to, what's the result in the power? The power will now become, again, 2. So the final answer here should be 1 over 9. So why 1 over 9? Because again, when you say 3 squared, it means what? 3 squared means what? You have to write the number 3 2 times and multiply. And there you go. That's the answer for the third example. Oh, are you very good so far? Let's continue. Let's have the part for simplifying rational exponents. So in this one here also I got some examples from your lecture, from your teacher. So let's say we have here, if we're still doing good, everyone. Let's say we have here, why am I saying it? I'm just recording this. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. So we have here cube root. It's too small. Let's adjust that a bit. Cube root, cube root, cube root. So we have here cube root of, let's say, m multiplied by 4th root of m cubed. Okay. At the first glance, again, it's kind of confusing, right? It's gonna be, kind of hard. But what we do here is, remember, a while ago, we did translation of what? Um, Radical form first into exponential form. So what do we do here is, we're actually going to transform this one first into exponential form. And then you will see that it's gonna be way easier. Okay, let's start first with this one. What's the base? Sorry, let's identify first the pi. Pi, your favorite pi. The p is what? Is the power of m. It's 1, right? There's a power of 1 here. If you can still recall this, what's the I, the index? It's 3. Okay. How about here? The second one, pi. The power is 3. Okay. The index is 4. Okay, this one is the index. Are you very good so far? Next. let's already transform them. This is gonna be m raised to pi 1/3. This is gonna be m raised to pi. This is gonna be 3/4. And again, it's multiplication. We're good so far. Now, what do we do? Okay, analyze. Right now, what we're doing is we are multiplying exponential terms and not just basic exponential terms. These are what? They have similar base. Okay? And the rule here is that in multiplying exponential terms with similar base, what do? You can apply your product rule. So what do you do in product rule again? In product rule, take note please. I hope you can still recall from your laws of exponents. So m, okay, you copy the common base, and then you are going to add your powers. You have 1/3 plus 3/4. Okay? So you have now here m raised to 1. Okay. So this one here, 1/3 plus 3/4. I'm not saying you should use directly your calculator, but again, if ever you have to use calculator and then you think you need more time to solve other questions, you can just do this using calculator. But I will just show you manually. What you do here, cross 1 times 4 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. It's addition, right? So I put here plus. All over 3 times 4 is 12. So it's gonna be 13 over 12. So the answer is gonna be m raised to 13 over 12. And that is already the final answer. However, well, not yet, basically, by the way, because this is still in exponential form. What if your teacher or in the exam, the choices are in exponential form? So how do we transform this one again into exponential form? I mean radical form. This is pi, right? So your index is 12, your base is m, your power is 13. That's the answer. Okay, next one. What did we have here? Backwards. We have the next page already. Okay, let's have two more examples of this. I hope you can follow. Let's say we have here m raised to 1/3. Okay, and then n raised to -2. The quantity or the whole term raised to 3 over 5. Again, this is application of your power of a power rule. So now, sir, what do you do here again? So it means that both your m raised to 1/3 and your n raised to -2, both of them are inside the parentheses. Okay? With the power of 3/5. It means that also both of them should have, okay, the power of 3 over 5. Now what's gonna happen here again is power of a power rule, because this is power and another power, power and another power, right? What do you do again in power of a power rule? You are going to multiply them. It's gonna be m raised to, let's copy them first, m raised to 1/3 times 3 over 5, n raised to -2 times 3 over 5. That's it so far. Now what do we do here? Let's multiply them, okay? So 1/3 times 3 over 5. Actually, there, you can cancel it directly, but I will just show you the exact process, okay? It's going to be 3 over 15. However, since somehow you can still simplify this, both of them are still divisible by 3, so you simplify. This is going to be what? 1 over 5. So you have now here, the power of m is 1 over 5. So how about the n? Well, let's solve for n. We have here -2 times 3 over 5. Take note, huh? You can write -2 as a fraction. How? Just put 1. And then multiply. -2 times 3 is -6. 1 times 5 is 5. There you go. So it means that the power of n is -6 over 5. However, okay, we're not allowed to have a negative power, right? What do? You bring it down. So final answer here, it should be m raised to 1 over 5 divided by or over n raised to 6 over 5. But I just write my answer. My handwriting is so good. N raised to 6 over 5. Now it's going to be positive. And that's our final answer. Okay? I hope we're good here. Okay. I guess those two examples are enough already. Okay. You can just like apply analysis. Now let's go to solving for x. Like this one here is already, we're going to be finding what's the value of x in a certain equation involving exponential terms or exponential forms. So let's say we have here, let's have first the basic one. Let's say we have 2. Oopsie, let's make it a bit bigger. Let's say we have here 2 raised to x is equal to 32. What does it mean? Okay. Again, when you say solving for x or like a variable, take note a variable is like a representation of any number, right? So it means x could represent a number here. The question is, what's that number? Okay, what is this number so that the result is gonna be 32 when you raise the 2 raised to x. Okay, now there are actually different ways here. You can use what? You can do trial and error, like use your calculator. You can try 2 raised to 1, you can try 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3, like that. And then check which one will result to 32. Okay. Now, so what do we do here? Well, the other way of doing this one is this one. Again, as I told you a while ago, right? I'm actually hoping that somehow you are already familiar with the basic exponential terms or exponential forms, okay? Isn't it that 32 can be written as base 2, right? It's actually 2 raised to 5. So why? Because if you will write the number 2 5 times, and if you multiply them, it's gonna be 32. So what I'm saying is that this is 2 raised to x is equal to 2. Again, this is also 2 raised to 5. Again, take note, 2 raised to 5 is also the same as 32. So I just replace 32 with 2 raised to 5. Now, analyzing this one, okay, comparing them, this is the same already. And given that they have the same value, it means that x and 5 are equal also. It means that the value of x is actually equal to 5. And again, it's really correct, right? Because 2 raised to 5 is actually 32. So in this one here, the value of x is 5. Next example. Let's say we have here number 2. 9 raised to z is equal to 27. Okay. So again, I'm still hoping that you are still familiar with our basic exponents. Okay. And I hope you know that 9, okay, is equal also to 3 raised to 2. And 27 is equal to 3 raised to 3. Okay. These are just small numbers. Okay. I hope you're familiar with them. Because again, how comes there? Because again, 3 times 3 is 9, right? There, 3 squared. And because also 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. Okay? So now, sir, what's the purpose of that? Well, we can actually replace them first, and then we will analyze. Okay? So again, the 9 is 3 raised to 2. This is gonna be 3 raised to 2. And 27 is gonna be 3 raised to 3. Okay? But take note, the 3 raised to 2 is still have a power of z. So this is our equation so far. Now, what we're going to do, sir? Okay, what we do here is what? Apply our power of a power. Well, because we have 2 powers, right? It's gonna be, again, what do you do there? You multiply. It's gonna be now 3 raised to 2z, because 2 times z is 2z, is equal to 3 raised to 3. These 2 here are already equal. It means that these 2 are also equal. So we have now 2z is equal to 3. Okay, what are the two rules again that I taught you before on how do you solve for x? What do you do? Two rules. You have to make sure that the variable x is positive, and also the variable x is also solo. Is the variable, sorry, this is not x, this is z. Anyway, it's the same thing. Is the variable c already positive? Yeah, it's positive. There's no negative sign there, right? Now, analyze. Is the variable c already solo? Not yet. Because on the left side, beside the c, there is a 2. Our goal is to remove the 2. How? We divide. But again, rule of equality is that in an equation, whatever you do on one side, you also do on the other side. So you have now, you can cancel this. You have now here, z is equal to 3 over 2. And that's our answer. Okay? Now let's try one more. What if we have negative exponent? Okay. Say we have here 3 raised to y is equal to 1 over 9. Okay. So what we do here is let's transform first both of them in a similar base. Well, this one here on the left side, we cannot do anything anymore about that. That's already simplified, right? So I will just copy that here below. That's still 3 raised to y. Now what we do is we work on the 1 over 9. Okay. Isn't it that 9 is actually equal to 3 squared? Right? But again, you cannot compare them directly. This is in whole number. This is in fraction. Right? What do you do? Let's also move this one going up. What's going to happen? It will become now 3 raised to negative 2. So where's the 1 now? Times 1, right? But again, the 1 will not do anything at all. Also, in the denominator, no more number left, right? Because it to be moved, you put also 1. But again, over 1 is just nonsense. So just ignore the 1 there. So this time, now we can say that 1 over 9 is the same as 3 raised to negative 2. So this is also 3 raised to negative 2. Does it mean these are 2 are already equal? So it means that these 2 here are also equal. So it means that y is equal to negative 2. Okay, as simple as that. So that's it for our summary lecture for our rational exponents. And I hope somehow you're able to learn something here. Okay, thank you.